Hello, everybody. So hopefully I'm gonna cut a video now to talk to you about the most important decision that you're never gonna make. And just so you know, it looks like you make decisions. It sounds like you make decisions. It feels like you make decisions, and other people will actually come to assist you, and they will then declare that you have made decisions with their help. None of that's true. You don't make any decisions. You don't need to make any decisions. You're the unborn. What the hell are you going to make a decision about? Right? But it feels like we make big decisions. And the biggest decision that is either happens or does not happen in an individual's life is the decision to tell themselves the truth. Because this is actually what waking up is. It's not really anything particularly mysterious. It's mystical because it's like, ooh, but it's actually just plain. There's not a lot of ooh with it. I mean, there can be that in your initial experience, but this many years in, I'm not having any woo-woo, right? I'm just having an everyday experience. It would be uncannily like yours, except for the fact I'm recognizing who is it that's having it. There's no Fred, so Fred can't be having a really a wonderful day or a poor day or any other kind of day because Fred doesn't exist. There's no Fred. This is telling myself the truth. You'll often hear me say that the only thing I need to have a successful awakening session with somebody is I need a client who can and will tell themselves the truth when they're presented with it. And I would just say can, except for the fact you don't have any choice. I just throw can in to make it like give the illusion that you have some little bit of choice, but you don't. You don't have any choice at all. You know why? You don't exist. I mean, that body exists within relativity, and you, the absolute, exist before all and after all of this. But you never make a decision. This is all happening within you, upon you. None of those words are right, but they're probably upon you would be, well, I don't know that they're all bad. All these words just suck out loud for transferring the truth. They do. That's the reason I can't transfer the truth. You know, there's transmission, but when there's transmission, Fred ain't doing it. See, that's the key. Fred would like to do it. Fred would like to do it, and he would very much like to impress you. And he would like for girls to swoon whenever he walks in the room because he can do that. None of that happens. Just doesn't happen. All I got is this. And I recognize that. When I say I recognize that, forget who's saying that, okay? Let's just not go down that road. Let's just give each other a break today. I won't call you on your incorrect non-dual language if you won't call me on mine, okay? Because we got to talk here. And once we decide to talk, it's over anyway. I mean, with people all the time that are waking up, and one of the things that they will tell me is, golly, Fred, I never saw that this was gonna happen like this. I never saw that this was what was gonna happen. Well, I can't find anything other than this. So it shouldn't be that big a surprise that you are experiencing this prior to awakening and you're experiencing this after awakening. The difference is that you're experiencing through this filter here, and what's coming through this filter is not coming from the filter. It's just using the filter as a way to inhabit this world. As a way to enjoy itself objectively. Because see, you are the vastness. And what is that? We don't know. How about that? Here's something I ran this morning into. I got 2 bits of wisdom here. One of them is from a student of mine that's doing really well. Her name is Christine and Corlett. And she wrote me this past week, and it says, listen to this, it's good. The unit conflates bliss states as oneness, yet bliss and depressive experiences are not separate from oneness. Therefore, for all is within and of oneness. The option to identify as oneness is available anytime it is. That's a really good statement. I mean, that's clarity on the page. And strap out of Christine. It's not about reaching specific states. See, what if this was the only state you had? What if this was it? What would you do then? Because I think that the idea of waking up is, a lot of us are old addicts. And a lot of the seekers out there that never did drugs or alcohol or smoked or anything else, they're still addicts. They're addicts for this drug of this bliss. Please, give me another hit, right? That's what I always wanted. I always wanted more. And man, when I had a taste of awakening in 1992, my God, I just went nuts. And I stayed nuts for 14 years. And then I noticed, oh, hell, it's this. It's this ordinary this. It's not the exotic this that I've been chasing. Because now I know who was chasing, and I know what they were chasing, and I can't actually find any difference between the two. Ooh. Think on that one. There's no separation anywhere. So let's understand that what we're doing here is the dog is chasing its tail. Now here the dog has got its tail and it's just going around in circles because it likes going around in circles. Whereas in many other rooms that this sound is coming out in, they're looking for what I'm trying to really tell them. What's underneath all this? What does he really mean by this? What I really mean by this is that this is it. And it's you. It's you. There's nothing but you. Bliss arises and falls within you. Depression arises and falls within you. It doesn't mean that the units are not going to go through those experiences. They do. They're units. They're in relativity. Things go up and down. Things go good and apparently bad, right? It's contrast. You have contrast. I don't. I just have this. I don't have another imaginary this that I'm comparing this with. Because I've told myself the truth. And it feels like, well, it doesn't even feel like a decision, to be honest with you, because it wasn't a decision. It just happened. And it doesn't even feel like I made anything, because I didn't know I was surrendering when I surrendered. I just knew I was real pissed off. And I was so angry that I gave God the permission to do whatever the hell he was doing to begin with. What he was already doing. I said that was okay. And I really didn't even give it the blessing of okay. And I just gave it the blessing of I don't give a damn. I gave up giving a damn about the end of this story, or about or about the way of this story, of how it should go and what should happen. Because after all, I am special. If you hadn't noticed that, let me bring it to your attention. I'm very special, right? And if you ever catch me doing this and believing it, run like hell. Because there's nothing further away from the truth. And actually, Fredness did not surrender to this because I'd already told myself the truth. I was telling myself the truth at that time and didn't realize it. The truth is there's no Fred. I asked somebody yesterday in satsang, said, so in the absence of a Bob, what do you find? And there was this long pause. Just an awareness. Okay. Yeah, well, guess what? So do you, after you've found your keys, do you keep on looking for your keys? Hell no. You've got your keys. Go do what you got to do. What we do is we find our keys and then we continue to look for them. We find our keys, we put them in our pocket, we feel really good about that, and then we forget that we found our keys and we go looking for our keys again. And then we find them again because we're checking all of our pockets, and then, oh my God, I had forgotten all about this. I got it way down here. I got it way down here, and let me pull it out. And oh, look at that. That is fantastic. Let me put it here in my pocket. Keep it safe and zip my pocket up. Now, where are my damn keys? Yeah, that's what we do. Because we won't claim the truth, even when we've told it to ourselves. We will deny it even after we have confessed. And what the confession is, simply awakeness confessing to awakeness that, wow, there's nothing actually going on here. It may not be seen in that way immediately. And it may not be seen that way ever. That's fine. Didn't make any, in the end, it doesn't make any difference. But because oneness, the seeing of oneness and that you are it that's a very, very rich and sweet experience. When you know that you are oneness, when you believe you are in oneness or you are a part of oneness, then what you will find out is that oneness is the enemy, because it's not doing what you want it to do. And it should be doing what you want it to do, because after all, I am special, right? I am special. Every human being wants that brand, the branding of being special. They want that branding so that everybody can recognize it. So it just be like wearing a logo for God's company or the universe's company. I'm just using God as it's just good shorthand. It's just shorter than saying, well, you know what I mean. I mean, it's that thing that we're always talking about that we can't quite talk about. The formless thing and all that. It's just easier for me to say God. And you can translate that any way you want, and I'm fine with that. Any way you translate it is perfectly fine. But it's hard for me to constantly change my translation. Although I do, because I'll talk about consciousness, I'll talk about awareness, I'll talk about God, I'll talk about peace, and there's less difference between these words than one might think, except for between consciousness and awareness, which is quite the wide gulf. Which reminds me of this. I read it. This is what I got from advaita-vedants this morning. So I'm just quoting others. Why not? You don't have any wisdom of your own, share what others got. So some prophets say there are messengers of God, but Krishna does not say that. This is advaita-vedants. he emphatically declares that all this creation is out of me, but I, the absolute, am apart from it. And whatever is created out of me blazes like the fireworks in a festival and gets extinguished. But I, the absolute, prevail forever. So now if there's only one thing going on, and the absolute is declaring it's not a part of this zoo, how can that happen if there's non-duality? I mean, just one thing going on, right? Well, that is certainly a fine destination to hit along the spiritual path. If you hit it to where you're experiencing oneness, you get enough experience of it that you're convinced that it's the damn truth, instead of having to constantly, I got my light socket, the finger in the light socket, I want to know I'm oneness right now. Oh, this is so great. Oh, I don't ever want to lose this. Says, what is it? Well, how is oneness going to lose oneness? Right? But it's oneness saying, oh, this is just fabulous. Let me tell you about it. But there's no you. There's just, see, within relativity, there's just the one thing. Relativity is one thing. It's one thing with contrast, right? It's one thing with contrast. But the absolute is beyond that. And you have to tell yourself the truth about that if you want to go beyond that. But it's not as critical. That particular truth is not as critical for you to make as the understanding of oneness. But we just want to notice that the absolute is, quote, it's not really separate from, because he declares that all of this creation is out of me. So it's not really separate, only it's not part of. What is it? It's an illusion. The Indians even have a name for that core, most basic illusion, but I am no good at remembering Indian terms. Just can't. And hell, this thing's gotten to the point where it can't remember American terms, much less Indian terms. And I'm the same way with the Greeks. I know all these ancient philosophers, I can't remember their names to save my life, except for a few of the biggies, but I've studied others. I can't remember them, and I have to, look up what they mean by logos and this and that and the other, because they just can't keep it all straight. There's just it's an aging unit, and it's not lost any of its inner luster, but hell, it's lost a lot of the exterior luster. That's for sure, and the ability to keep up with. Also there's the motivation. I just don't care anymore. See, there was a time when I would really care that I came on here and I gave you the correct Indian terms so that you would know just how educated I was in non-dual philosophy. Or I would use the right terms so you could see how educated I was in Greek and Roman philosophy. And or the American Renaissance or something like that. Now I flat out don't care. See, the weird thing is I don't even care if you understand me. And it feels like I should care about that, doesn't it? So, yesterday in satsang, I had someone who said he was having a problem with the fact that he wasn't having a problem. That's not the way he put it, but that's what we discovered when we inquired into it. He said everything was fine, but he felt like with coronavirus and his apparent, his relative station in life and all that, he felt like there should be, he should be concerned about that. He should be worried about that. Now, worry plus $1 will buy you $1's worth of anything you want to buy. But it won't buy you $1. There's no added value by worry. Matter of fact, what worry does is it captures your attention so that you can't keep your mind on the ball. You can't be present. You can't be open to what's being offered at every moment. See, we're actually it's an abundant world even when it doesn't look like it. It doesn't mean that I'm not taking any action to relieve suffering in the world. It does. The most important decision that you're never going to make is whether you're going to tell yourself the truth, which in my case is that there's no Fred. That's impossible to make. I mean, you can't make that decision. That decision dawns on you. It's not a decision that it's not even really information, but it does come with information. So we'll say that experience happens where awakeness sees that there's only awakeness. But see, Fred was holding out to see that, and Fred can't see awakeness when there is nothing but awakeness, because being that there's nothing but awakeness, that's a very strong pointer toward the fact that there's no Fred there to be aware of it. Oops. There's a lot. Back this tape up if you didn't get that, because that's a very meaty morsel that I just tossed you. So be cooperative with any flow you've got, that's with any sense of energetic flow that you have that's moving toward cooperation with the inevitable, which is coming to see that there's no you. I mean, it will be realized probably at the point of death. I can't know because I've not been at the point of death. I have died, but I've not been at the point of death. In other words, the ego died, but like Lazarus, he came right back. God, I think it's done. The words have stopped. I don't know what we said. I have no idea what we said or what we talked about. I hope you do. Or actually, I don't care if you do or not, because I don't care if you've got this, because this is not Fred talking to a crowd. This is awakeness talking to awakeness. And I always get what this thing says. It's true. I always do. This thing gets what this thing says when it watches its video. Thinks it's very clear. It is quite stuck on itself, but it's not really stuck on itself. It's stuck on that for which it is the mouthpiece for, which is not a Bob or a Mary. It's awakeness. Thank you.